All right. Welcome to Stake Podcast, the student edition, with the man, Mr.
Wongalethu, whatever people prefer. I'm usually not fussy, man.
Great, Wongalethu. It's a joy having you back on the podcast.
Yeah, man. It's a delight to be back again. Eh?
Great, man. Great. Yeah. It was quite a joy having you sometime. Was it last year when we had you here?
I think it's been a year and a couple of months.
Great.
Yeah.
And it has been a year, and I know that a lot has happened during the course of that year, and we can't wait to hear from you, because the last time you were a blessing, you were really a mouthful for us.
Nice,
and we can't wait to get more from you this time around. So,
sure.
Great, Mr. Wonga. Just as a recap, kindly share with us what you studied, because I know now you're done, and tell us how the journey was and what you've accomplished so far.
Okay, so I was studying Bachelor of Emergency Medical Care at CPUT, right? So we have a different hierarchy. We have a higher certificate, which is 1 year, and then we have a diploma, which is 2 years, and then we have the BMC, which is what I studied, which is the mainstream is 4 years, and then the extended program is 5 years, and then you come out with your degree. So that's what I was studying. That's what I was busy with, and I'm glad that I'm done. And I finished quite strong, man, because I finished with like 6 distinctions.
Wow.
Yeah, like 6 strong distinctions.
Out of how many subjects?
Out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like quite upset though, because some, like, I was needing like 3% in order like to get the distinction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it has been a beautiful journey. It has been a beautiful journey, man. Lots of lessons, lots of learning moments, lots of learning curves. I think I'm just grateful that I walked through the path, and actually was privileged to walk through the finishing line and walk through the finishing line quite strong, because people that I've started with, they didn't manage to finish.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Not to have you pour out everything before we actually dive deep into this.
Yeah.
I'm really wowed by the 6 distinctions. This is varsity. This is varsity. Not many people get there and pass that well. Because, I mean, there's that saying, you know, when you're at high school or primary school, we're all smart. When you get to varsity, we're all humbled.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that it was quite a journey. Can you explain to us how was the journey, the challenges that you experienced, and the adjustment that you made in order for you to finish so strong?
It's quite a long story.
Yeah.
But again, like, trying to cut it short.
Yes.
Because there's lots and lots of lessons that you learn across the path. So one of the learning curves is readjustments. So, readjusting. So when you transition from high school into university, it's a total different ball game, because the principles that used to work in high school, they don't work here, right? like seriously. That's where varsity actually gets that, just slaps people in the face, because what used to work back then does not work now, right? Then throughout the journey, I encountered a failure. I think that was the turning point of everything, because I know there's a book, Failing Forward, and then some people. I was actually watching a podcast today, how another lady was saying that failure actually saved her life, but sorry for another day.
Yeah.
So through the journey, I encountered some failures, which I had to come back and press the reset button and re-question my why. Why am I doing this? Why did I fail? you know. Because some people, when they encounter failure or an obstacle, they pull back and they're like, okay, that's fine, I'm done with it. But give yourself that time to beat yourself, in that moment, feel it, and then ask yourself, why did it happen? Because when I asked myself, why did that happen? I think that was a turning point, because that's when I realized, okay, I might be studying wrong. What's the difference between me and the other people that are achieving academic success? Or not really achieving academic success, but what is the difference between me and the people that are making it?
Yeah.
So then I started going on YouTube, I started finding books on memory, I started finding books on becoming an effective student. Then that started shifting a lot of things, shifting the way I was studying. It's not about the amount of studying that you do, but it's about the quality of study sessions that you have. The study method I was using in high school is different from university. And each year in university, it requires a different study method. Because first year, it was just about memorization, basic principles, basic fundamentals, basic terminology.
Yeah.
And then second year, it's about now, okay, let's get the foundation, And then third year is about, okay, now let's build the frame. And then fourth year is about, okay, now let's put the roof, let's put the furniture in. So you find out that now what you learned 2 years back becomes a crucial element, like in final year.
Yeah.
So you can't afford to forget, So that different adjustment, now I had to find different study methods. Okay, now in final year, I'm not taking notes, I'm just reading articles, because there's tons and tons and tons of articles that we have, and then they're about 30 to 40 pages each. So for you to read, take notes, it's not effective. So that adjustment, it's quite like I think one of the biggest things I've learned is to be flexible and to adjust and to adapt, because varsity is a dynamic environment.
Yeah.
You understand? And be meek enough, humble enough to ask for help.
Yeah.
That adjustment, going for information and mentorship, was the turning point for me. Yeah.
I love it that initially you mentioned that the principles that were initially used at high school don't necessarily work at varsity, and you explained about at a certain time you hit a pause, like, oh, let me reflect, let me see how I should take on the course.
Sure.
So I'm thinking of someone sitting down, and I've heard that the principles that I'm using at high school, who's in grade 12 right now or the following year, to hear that the principles that they're using will not be the same when they go to varsity. Can you share a bit light of some principles that you noticed were very effective at school, in sort of like a bit more detail, that were not as effective as, were effective at high school, but might not necessarily be effective when you're going to university?
Okay. I think one of the privileges that high school people have, or let me say people in matric have, is the fact that you have resources such as question papers. I remember when I was in matric, me and my crazy study mates, we used to do like cross nights, like literally 3 to 4 times a week. Those late nights, you have question papers that actually what I'm practicing this question paper is actually what is going to come out. You understand? So we had those things that what you have done in the question paper is actually something that is going to come up. You practice those question papers, right? That's like a matter of you're practicing, you are trying to commit something into your memory, because studies have shown that students who test themselves often, they often shown to achieve better results as compared to just people who read, take notes, rewrite, and so on. So rewriting notes, rewriting stuff and practicing question papers may work in high school. But when you get to varsity, I had to make my own questions, I was making my own questions. Like if I'm reading an article to say, okay, I'm reading an article about the cardiovascular system. So then it breaks down the cardiovascular system. What is this vein doing? All these kind of things. So what I used to do, okay, what does the artery that supplies blood into this part of the body do? Where does it deviate? Where does it branch off? And so on. Where does it do this? So I can be studying now, but I'm making questions for myself. So the next time now I'm revisiting the content, I don't go and reread the notes. I start with the questions first, then I mark myself. So after marking myself, then I try, okay, which one did I get wrong? Okay, I got this one wrong, okay, it's fine. Next time, then I start with the questions that I got wrong, then I work it through. What I used to do actually was to create a spreadsheet. So all of my questions, I used to do them on spreadsheet, on Google Docs actually, Google Sheet. So each and every question I would highlight it, read, if I absolutely knew nothing about it. So I highlighted red. Yeah. And then a question that I was confident about, like I knew from the back of my mind, I knew this question, highlighted green. So the question that I was in between, I knew 50% about, I would just highlight it yellow, So that helped me a lot because each and every time I was coming to reviewing a topic, each and every time I'm reviewing a topic, I'm starting with the questions that I read first, then work with the yellow ones. So it was a nice system to adjust. So I think I used that system like 2 years in varsity. Yeah. Then I had to now leave that one and readjust to, okay, now we are reading articles. Okay, what is it about when it comes to articles? So it's a dynamic environment. So I learned the hard way. First year, I was still approaching varsity with the same grade 12 mindset. Grade 12, I used to, punch through cross nights. I used that in first year. It didn't work because it was not sustainable. Because in varsity, you have long lectures as compared to high school, and they have high yield content that needs a fresh brain. Cross nighting every day was not working. You understand? Sometimes it's a reality that you can never catch up with the content in university. So that was the shift to say study method was changing throughout university until now, and finally I was absolutely taking no notes and then just reading articles.
So it's like at the school level, you are being tasted on how well
how much can you remember?
How much can you take in? I'm thinking of someone being fed food, right? Being fed any information, and we are testing how well you can, or how much you can vomit out.
How much you can regurgitate in the piece of paper.
Yeah, regurgitation. See how well you're able to regurgitate, and then we mark you from there.
But in varsity now, it's actually different because they want to test how much do you understand. I think that becomes a turning point when it comes to learning. Because we actually just taught, this is what you need to know. We are taught what to know, but not how to know the content. Or we are taught what to know, but we are not taught how to study. You see, so they can give you content, go and memorize this content. But you realize that when you approach content from a point of understanding, it actually sticks better in your brain. It creates those new neuron pathways that actually stick in your brain. And then even if you wake up someone like at night, in the middle of the night, they can still remember that content because understanding can boost reinforcement pathways in your brain and then boost your memory. But when it's all about, there's a terminology for it, dissociative curve. Yes.
Okay.
So the dissociative curve, it just says, it compares memory on the x-axis, right, on the y-axis, and then it compares time on the x-axis. So all it says that memory depreciates over time, or decreases over time. So if you study a concept today, when days go by, you're starting to lose that content in your brain. Such that if we test you a month later, you can hardly recall even 10%. But when you reinforce that content, you're actually disturbing that dissociation curve, and then over time, you actually just hit that momentum that it really just sticks in your brain. Like, you can't really just pluck it out, man. Yeah.
It's quite an interesting thing you're sharing there, because it makes me think about how much the foundation of one's schooling is very important. If I have a teacher who just marks me based on how good I'm able to remember, rather how good I'm able to understand, it has a bit of an effect of how well I can perform when I get to varsity, depending on my surrounding. So, whilst you were still explaining about the different stages at varsity, it was quite intriguing, because it's like you've got a roadmap, right? Or you've got a map, you toss it on the table, and then you just look at the course plan. Cool, let me navigate around it like this, like that, like that. That's how I will succeed each year, because you shared, this year, put on the roof. Next year, maybe this is year one, foundation. And each stage, as you had an understanding. But someone would begin to wonder, how did you know that before actually getting to varsity, that, I need to plan my way like this? Could you share with us how you got there? Did you ever get the information from someone, or?
Okay, so you mean like how did I know the structural point of view of?
You mentioned that each year you could actually, because when you said you took a pause, you were able to see the course plan. I want to graduate. Everybody wants to graduate, of course, to varsity, as long as they're serious, at least. We all want to graduate.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
The way you explained it, that each year I saw it in form of a house that's being built. Cool. Year number one is foundation. Year number two, maybe we start off with bricks, the walls, right? And the final year, that's when the roof and the painting's done, the windows and everything are done, so the house is done. You kind of explained that you in your study methods, you tackled it that way. So I'm just wondering, how did you get about knowing that? Did you take it from someone, or is it just something you got an idea? Because it sounds cool, though.
I would say I'm a man of many ideas. But I'll be honest, I think that was coming from a mentor. Right, and it actually changed the way that I was looking at things. Which is a mentorship in academics is quite a dynamic topic, man, that just need a lot of time to unpack. But it was like a mentor that actually advised me to say, change the way you look at it, and just look at it as if you're constructing something. First year, they're just putting the foundation. They are giving you basics, they're giving you fundamentals. And then the 2 years after, or the following year, just putting up the structure, the frame, building up the walls. And then finally, we're putting the roofing, and then we're just final touches, putting in the furniture, beautifying the house, and then that's it. You come out as a full house, full finished house. That way, I got it from a mentor that advised me when I was in that time. That was number one, I need information. Number two, I'll need someone to guide me, because clearly I may know the information, but I may not know the practical aspect of it. So you get the information, you get the mentor, because principles, information will help you to know principles, because principles are not tied up to a geographical location, but principles are universal. Right, so you get the principles and then you get mentorship, because as much as you would know universal principles that have proven to work, but you actually also need someone that is ahead of you, who will guide you in terms of, okay, avoid that pitfall. This is how you approach this, is how I approach that. Okay, I'll give you the resource, how I did it. Then you just kind of like have a template of how you will approach this thing. Yeah. So I would say that I got it from a mentor to say, if you can approach this like this, it might change the way you view it as just, you know, these difficult years that you want to get through. Then it readjusts your focus to, I'm constructing a house. Each year I'm adding a different element into the house. And each thing that I'm covering this year is becoming an important element that I'm going to need, you know. Can't construct the roof, you can't construct the walls without the foundation, you know. So yeah, I think that's where I got it.
Based on, I think, on an experience I've had before, you know, you could have a mentor and they advise you to tackle things A, B, C, and you spoke about, now that we're speaking about principles are governing laws, right? But sometimes one can fall in some form of rationalization where they feel that, okay, cool, I've done this in this particular order, and then let's say maybe the results are not as you anticipated them to be. Have you ever been in that situation? And in that situation, what have you maybe done differently? I'm just thinking for someone who listens to you and they want to follow your path, because I mean, everybody goes away, there's results, and we have seen the results. So how would you advise them if they ever hit such a situation, they find themselves in that situation, pardon me,
where they apply the principle?
Yeah, and then probably they say, okay, cool, it's not working, because I mean, I did everything once, it's right. How do I go around this, you know, and stuff like that?
I think one of the things I've discovered when I was just researching, you know, I think when I hit failure, I tried so many study methods.
Okay.
Until I found what was working for me.
Wow.
I was actually listening to a podcast this morning, and I realized that as young people, we actually have the privilege to hit the reset button as much as we need to. So in the academic journey, you have that privilege to hit the reset button as much as you can.
Yeah.
You know, I spent like lots of time just trying to find what's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Is studying in my room quite working? Nah. Okay, what's working for me? Is taking notes actually working for me, or just reading and testing myself? What works, you know? I've tried different. Trust me, I've tried note taking. There's something called active recall and spaced repetition. I've tried that. I've tried just reading and just understanding. I've tried that. You know, I've tried just watching videos, you know, until I just found something that, okay, this is what I'm gonna settle with now. So you do get a point where you hit that point to say, you know, I've tried this, it's not working, but what else have you tried? You know, like there's lots of strategies that one can try out there, man. But you just need to find what's working for you, and if you can find that what's working for you and you stick with it, then I'm sure things will change. But it's just a matter of people can be fixated to just one strategy that this used to work and it must work now. You know, it's like you're trying to, if you wear size 8, you're trying to wear size 4. You know, it doesn't matter how much you try, bro, but that thing, it don't work. You know, because it just won't work.
Yeah.
Because this foot will not fit in this shoe size.
Yeah.
You need something that is matching. You know, if it's not the actual puzzle piece, it don't fit there. You know, so it's actually just finding the correct piece of the puzzle that actually fits there, and then you just stick with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different study methods.
So if you just hit that point and say, I've tried this, it's not working. So what else can I try? You know, what else can I try? What else can I do to make things better?
Okay, cool. So different study methods are seasonal as well. For sure.
They're seasonal. They change every year. Like I changed study methods each and every year when I was in university.
Great. You've shared about your techniques, and certainly you hit the pot of gold, which we spoke about earlier. The distinctions took us through the subjects. You had distinctions because you had 6 out of 10, right?
Yeah, it's 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and even those that you nearly made it there. Yeah, took us through the subjects, and for someone who is keen on studying what you studied, EMS, right? What should they look out for? And if they want to excel in the subjects that you excelled, even those that you didn't quite make it, what should they look out for?
Most of the modules that I was doing, they're quite theory based, right? I think 5 of them were theory based, and then there was 1 that was like the practical element of it, just going to the hospitals, going to the ambulance. We also do fly with the AMS helicopter ambulance service.
Yeah.
So most of them are quite theory based, and what I realized was that when you have found something that works for you, it goes back to what I said, to say, when you have found something that works for you and you stick with it, it actually works. Because I changed my study method this year. I almost said last year, because when you're done, it feels behind. So this year I was not taking notes, but all I was doing was reading stuff. So if there's any advice that I can give to someone who would want to pursue it, what I did, it will need like physical fitness, number 1, physical fitness, and a lot of emotional fitness. You need to be strong emotionally and mentally, because it does have that emotional and mental demand. It puts a demand on you, and all the physical restraints also, it compounds now and also affects your mental health. So you need to really be fit, on both sides. And then when it comes to studying, lots of flexibility is needed, because each year it just requires different, study methods. Because I remember in first year, we would go to class and come out to have understood nothing. Why? Because you just came out of high school, and then now your brain is being exposed to entry of level, 7, 6, all of a sudden. And then it's like a shocker to you, like, all these long, bombastic words, like, I have no idea how to even pronounce them, And then later on, when your brain switches and matures, now I realize, no, man, this is not actually a long word. This is like 3 words, 2 words that are combined, when I approach it like that, So adaptability and flexibility is what is needed, Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to try something new, If you find like, okay, this is not working, try something new, try something else, do something else, You might find out that studying at different libraries can actually boost your because sometimes you lack motivation to study.
Yes.
You just lay in your room like, okay, do I really have to study? But if I don't study, I'll fail. But what can I do to boost myself? I sometimes usually recommend to people to stay away from YouTube motivational videos. They don't really work. Actually, maybe let me just take a walk. Let me go study at the library. Let me go study at that library. Let me go study at that library. It helps you to, So
keeps you going.
If I can give that advice, say flexibility, and be able to adapt and adjust to the current demands, not what used to work.
Okay, awesome. Keep on improving yourself. Just be current.
Just be current and adjust.
Cool. Awesome. So I always love asking this question. What are the plans for the future now that you're done?
That's quite a tricky question. It's not tricky, but like it's just a matter of take life as life comes, man. One step at a time, because it was I think a moment or yesterday where I was like, okay, now what's going to be the next step? Okay, now I need to sort out work. Okay, after sorting out work, maybe I need to find a place. Okay, after sorting out a place, okay, nigga must buy a car. Okay, all these kind of things, man. All these kind of things. Okay, how am I going to spoil myself and so on? So all these kind of things. Then it's like a realizational moment to say, you know what? Let's take one step at a time. Okay, one step at a time. Okay, we need to sort out these documentations. Okay, once these documentations are sorted, work will finalize. Okay, once work finalizes, then relocation or finding a new place, my own place, my own place. Now, will sort itself out. How am I feeling the furniture? It will eventually sort itself out. What am I going to drive? Eventually going to sort itself out. All those kind of things. Just take life one step at a time. It's like getting to varsity. You don't get to varsity and you already know the names of the lecturers. You have solid friends. But you just get to varsity. You're first year. You're fresh. You are confused. You don't know where the library is. You don't know where many things are. But you just take one step at a time. Okay, I know where the library is. I know where the computer lab is. Okay, I know where the swimming pool is. I know where my lecturers are. Okay, we're using that lecture room or using that lecture room. For the first couple of months, you might be, confused. But as you take life one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, eventually, everything falls out on its own. Because the trick now is like hold everything together and make sure things go according to plan. That is the hardest lesson I've learned, even in university, that things don't go according to plan, and that's perfectly okay. Yeah. So it's just like take things one step at a time. Job. Let's get the job documentations first sorted. Because when we graduate, you need to sort out documentations. You have bills that you have to pay in order for you to be a registered practitioner, and then after that, job, and then after that, now I find a new place. Then after that, But for me, the plans for the future, let everything, unfold one step at a time, one step at a time. Because if I try to take everything once, that's where being overwhelmed will start coming. Yeah.
Awesome. It's like the saying, Rome was not built overnight. So you take every step at a time and be honest when you don't know something, and be comfortable not knowing, and also just understand your season.
Cool.
So and right now we've understood that your season as a student is gone.
Finally over.
It's over, and it has been a joy, having you on the podcast. It's the second time I'm having you here as a student. I'm just reflecting on to the idea that the next time when we have you as a professional, and
have me as a professional.
We'll be keen on hearing what you've got to share, and it has been a blessing, and you've been a mouthful to have you here. And
thank you, man.
We want to wish you all the best, and keep on rocking and hit those buckets, that pot of gold.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Mr. Wonga.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you, man.